Yes, no, what I'm saying that the fact that if you take out heavy paying customers, there will be an impact is normal. But whether you should take them out is the issue. Now, should you make this new regulation that has the impact of affecting their revenue requirement is a problem. Now, what does this new regulation seek to achieve? First, if you look at the fact that there are so many generations that are not being taken by DISCO because of network constraints and all that, this new regulation technically means that GENCOs can keep optimizing, improving, because they could sell those power to other customers who are not DISCOs. But it will work best if you do not take some of the customers on the distribution network. So you take, for example, those on transmission, big companies that really can take their power. But if the way it's drafted, I've seen the regulation, what the DISCOs are complaining that the language is so broad that it could mean a lot of opting out. Many of the
but what happens in a situation if the okay, let me just take you, like, say, back to the privatization period at which one would have thought that the DISCOs themselves would have done their due diligence before venturing into this kind of capital project, because one is thinking that if the DISCOs are unable to build that kind of infrastructure to carry the kind of power that they can transmit just about immediately, then who else should be blamed?
Good question. So there's a problem of DISCO incapacity, and we should blame them for that. To say, for example, if you have constraint, you should invest and make your network more able to take the power allocated to you. So there's no reason why we should have power and we can't send to the consumers who need it. So that costs for investment. But the question about regulation is a craft. You have to balance. Are you going to hit them with a hammer and defeat their capacity? That's a problem. The issue now is how can you draft eligible customer? By the way, when we were there in NERC, it was proposed, but we thought that perhaps based on circumstances, it was not the right time. But this might be the right time. The question is it crafted in a manner that will address this issue of power that is not being used, perhaps uncommitted power, as the regulation says, so you can sell to other people? But, or is it going to allow cherry picking? Is it going to allow other consumers to opt out and want to buy by themselves? If you do that, that's the point the discourse is saying, you are damaging their business proposition. The question, therefore, is what can the regulator do? And the problem now is that the regulator should do more consultation with them, because find a way to deal with those challenges and those complaints. See if they can, by the way, it can lead to tariff review, it can lead to other regulatory interventions. But if you don't do that, as it seems that there was not enough consultation, that's what the discuss saying, therefore they are left with the threat that the revenue will be damaged, and that's why this force measure. My view is that the force measure is an overkill. But the regulatory intervention by NERC...
But is it acceptable?
Well, first, it's legal. There's a provision for force measure. That's important in their contract. And that simply means that, look, if there are a change of game, if something happens by way of new laws that didn't go through proper regulatory process, a business owner can say, you've changed game, and therefore the propositions we came to the market can no longer add up. But the question is there other ways you can handle this? First, the NERC regulation provides for 60 days within which to challenge any regulation that you think is not good. The DISCO should first put out a petition to NERC, and NERC will conduct regulatory hearing, factor all this cost-benefit analysis. If you declare this eligible customer in this language, how many people will opt out of Ikeja, for example? What does that mean for Ikeja's capacity to serve the customers? Don't forget, this is not about them only. If there is no revenue, if you deplete 40% of Ikeja's revenue, they will not be capable of serving the other residential customers who can't opt out.
If those cannot opt out and they are still within, what's happening to the NIPPs? Because one would have thought that with so many NIPPs over the past 3 years, since the privatization started, we would have had more of these challenges sorted out.
Yeah, NIPP capacities are coming in now. That's a good point. Now, assuming you say the DISCOs are not effectively distributing power, we can earmark new supplies from NIPP for eligible customers. So the idea here is that we can carry out a forensic and say, this is how far the DISCOs can go now. There are power stranded. We don't want to be stranded. Those power tagged stranded should now be free to go to eligible customers. But if you allow those that the DISCOs can serve to opt out of the network and say, because they can be eligible, let them buy straight to the GENCOs, you are helping the GENCOs stay in business, because those capacities that they're not able to, that are constrained, they will bring into the market. They will say their power, they will be good. but you're also making the discos to suffer, because the discos, therefore, will not have customers that they will serve, and most of those customers are where they are making so much money. So this is a case of incentive. How do you balance it? You want to make sure that the gencos are able to sell power and therefore keep the market going. Secondly, you want to make sure that the discos are also moving, stepping up to improve their network. Exactly. No, for example, if it's an eligible customer, X can go and buy from the genco. So the genco is not concerned, the disco is not taking my power.
So Mamadi, I'm afraid that that's a good place to end it at this time. Many thanks indeed for talking to us on State of the Nation. And when we return, we will focus on the National Assembly's Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Bill. Stay with us.